Hello, Brunson with All Out Octane here. In this video, we are going to review the Hyundai Ionic 6. So this particular Ionic 6 has a starting price as shown of $55,010. There are a few different price ranges that you can see on this tag, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the car itself. So one of the cool things I like to do is keep track of the VIN tags, because you never know when these cars will be out in the general public. And granted, yeah, you might have a scratch in it, but if you can get a pretty good price for it, that'd be awesome. So as you can see, stepping inside, this car is fantastic. Very clean, very smooth, very few things on the door. We just have the door seat adjustments and the handle to get out. I do kind of like the mood lighting that they have on this, as well as the hidden or like waterfall effect feature to both close the door and open the door. And this one does have a Bose sound system. The chime did turn off. I am inside the car. At 6'4", I do have plenty of space, and this one is operable, I think because I have it plugged in, so I am able to move the seat back and forth. Seat controls are down below where they normally would be. You have a bunch of other particular controls, as well as a host of controls on the steering wheel. Big, huge screen here. You can use it just like a phone, slide things left or right, depending on what you would like to get to. Center console is pretty spectacular. Looks like they might have a wireless charging port as well as a USB charging port, cup holders, and window controls. So instead of having the window controls on the doors, they have put seat controls on the doors, and then they have moved the window controls to the center console. Because it's all electric, you don't have any drivetrain, you are able to have a full floating center console storage unit, which is fantastic. They do have one as well where you can open it up, and there are some micro USB-C charge ports. Up above, you have the rearview the rearview mirror, as well as other particular lighting. You can push those to turn on lights. It looks like they have a emergency button and a host of other different things as well. There is a sunroof, moonroof on this one, and I'm not quite sure if that is operated by those buttons. Slide down mirrors, or fold down mirrors with sliding things. Doesn't look like there was a light to those though, which is kind of what, yep, there is. So you can turn on a light, have the mirror. That's fantastic, great feature to have. Entering into the rear doors do have window up and down switches, as well as the handles. Again, a free floating handle to go in and out. Because there is no drivetrain, again, there's no tunnel, which means you have a flat rear floor here in the back. I left the chair at the height that I needed. No, you're fine. I left the chair at the height that I needed to get in the car. So at 6'4" here in the back, I am still able to sit in the back comfortably. This is not, my knees do touch, but it's not uncomfortable. So this does have plenty of space. And as you can see, there are some USB-C charging ports, as well as climate controls here in the back. One thing to note is that the front of the car, they do have actual climate control vents. There aren't buttons necessarily. They do have some buttons, but they also have the tap touch screens to be able to control climate control and volume. Headspace is not too bad. While I did have leg space, I do touch a little bit here on the headspace. If it were less curved, just a smidge, but that does detract from the styling cues. So we'll take a look outside and look at the styling. This thing looks fantastic. On the outside, you can see that they do have the pop-out handles, so you're able to they deploy, you're able to pull, and that will open up the door. I will say Hyundai has very impressive styling here on the Ioniq 6. A lot of people I've been hearing have been commenting about how the rear end looks, and this is something that I wanted to bring up just in general, that the rear end looks very Porsche-esque. So a lot of people think 80s Porsche, especially with the whale tail kind of wing here on the back, and then the wraparound tail lights. And they do light up. People were using those, and all of them do light up when you do hit the brakes or turn on the hazards. But yeah, the rear end of this car, I think, is stunning. Again, I do agree that it looks very Porsche-esque. That was what I was going to point out until I overheard other people talking about that exact same feature. I think one of the cool things would be if you take like the Porsche and the Lucid Air, where they kind of have that two-tone look. If you think of like the Targa tops with the chrome that the Porsches used to have, I think seeing that car with that, or this car with that look, would be fantastic. Instead, this particular one has the two-tone on the bottom. So we have the side skirt as a different color and the rear fender or rear bumper as a different color. So they kind of just went reverse, but I do like that. That does add to the visual stimulation of the car. Looking at the door tag, you can see that these are 20-inch rims, and they do look fantastic. Great choice, and they do have the P0 tires on them as well from Pirelli. Up front, you can see the Ioniq 6 does have a pretty good visual appeal. I do think it looks a little bit like a kind of squished or blunt-nosed kind of Nissan Z. It kind of has that wraparound headlight, kind of teardrop shape, and a Z kind of front end bumper. Honestly, I think the Z might have looked better if Hyundai had designed the Z. Obviously, that's a Nissan, but you kind of understand what I'm saying. If you understand the new Nissan Z, the Hyundai looks a lot better, I think, in terms of that kind of round retro style. And it's really cool to see that on an electric vehicle. The charge port for the Hyundai Ioniq 6 is here on the rear. You just simply tap it and it will open up for you. I had already done it a moment ago. So you can see that it might have the charging levels. It's at about halfway, and it does take the particular charger. So all you have to do is push it again and it automatically closes. Overall, I do think for $55,000, as this one is shown, this Ioniq 6 is absolutely incredible. And if I had the ability to charge a car at home, if I had my own home, I probably would consider getting one of these, because it just really is a game changer in the electric world. So one of the big things about electric vehicles is the storage space. As you can see in this one, if you simply push the back here, most cars do have trunks. This one has a rear trunk as well. We'll take a look at the front one here in just a moment. Ample cargo space. Those rear seats do fold down as well. There's a slight partition in the rear seat, but yeah, there are a couple tie down points, it looks like. You can also pull up the tray for even more cargo space in below that hidden cargo space. And then to simply put this one back, you simply push it down, or push the button, and down it comes. So the front cargo area is not as big as you would think. I was talking to the representative and he said it is dual motor. So there is a motor both in the front and in rear. Both axles have the motors as well. So you have the motor sitting right under this, powering both wheels. And then there's a rear motor as well. The funniest thing is that to get the front trunk open, it's not a button. It's literally the old school, like pull a lever. Yeah. And then take a look at the space.